What's going on, everybody? This is Cody, the home theater hobbyist. And if this is your first time visiting the Home Theater Hobbyist channel or watching one of our videos, welcome to the channel. If you like what you see, make sure you click that like button and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can be alerted anytime we upload new content. If you're a returning visitor or subscriber, welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to be talking about this pair of headphones, the Yamaha YH-E700s, their latest pair of over-the-ear headphones. And quite frankly, I like them a lot. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about their design, their features, their sound quality, and their comfort. So let's get to it. The YH-E700 is an over-the-ear headphone design. It features a 40mm dynamic driver with a frequency response from 8 Hz to 40,000 Hz. It features a 3.5mm stereo input along with Bluetooth version 5 and supports SBC, AAC, and aptX adaptive codecs. It also features active noise cancellation with an ambient sound mode and Yamaha's listening care and listening optimizer. It also supports both Siri and Google Assistant. Yamaha states that the battery continuous playback is approximately 35 hours with noise canceling on and charges via USB-C in approximately 3.5 hours. The headphones weigh 11.46 ounces and cost $350. So here I am with the YH-E700, and I'm going to start by talking about the design. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to Worldwide Stereo. They sent me these headphones for review. So if you want to purchase these, maybe a television, an AV receiver, some speakers, or anything else, use those links in the description below. But moving on to the design, as you can see, I have these in black, but they also come in white. Yamaha sells them in white, but they do come with a full carrying case. It's a nice hard shell carrying case, and the headphones do fold flat, so they'll fit in here. Inside here, you have a little pocket right here, so you can put, a little piece of paper, maybe your ticket for your flight, and a little section right here to keep all the cables like the headphone jack, the charging cable, and even the in-flight adapter. But moving back to the headphones, the headband itself has a nice, I don't know if this is leather, but it's a nice feeling material up top. It's nice and soft. There's some foam there on the headband. The housing itself is made out of plastic, and it's got a nice raised ridge right there for design and the Yamaha logo down there at the bottom. Up top is a little microphone hole. It has the same thing on the other side, and that is an external mic so that it can do the noise cancellation. Now, once you swivel these open, the first thing you notice is you have an L and an R for left and right, so you can see those nice and simply, and they don't have any L or R up there, so it's really easy to see. The cups themselves are circular, and I didn't have any issues with my ears bending or anything like that. They felt fine. But the actual pads are soft and plush, but they're not squishy, so they got a little bit of firmness to them. I would say they have a medium plushness. Now let's move on and talk about the bottom of the headphone, because that is where I think it gets really interesting, because they have physical buttons. So you can use these whether you're wearing gloves or whatever, you got physical buttons. On this left ear cup, you have the auto noise canceling button, and that is on by default, but you can turn it off or put it in ambient sound mode by pushing that button. Next to that is the headphone jack, so you can plug in that 3.5mm headphone jack. And on the right ear cup, you have several buttons. Starting here on the far left is the power button. You turn that on, off. You can push and hold it to get into Bluetooth pairing mode, and you can also push it while it's running to hear your battery status.
Battery medium.
Inside that little button is a little LED. It's either blue or red depending on what's going on there. Next to that is a little hole, and that is the microphone hole so that you can receive phone calls and people can hear you. Next to that is the USB-C charging port, so you plug that in to charge it. And next to that is this multi-function button. This works as a play pause button, or you can answer or hang up whenever a phone call comes in. And you can also send it to voicemail, I think, if you just push and hold it. Next to that is a plus and minus button. This is how you're going to increase and decrease the volume, but if you push and hold those buttons, it allows you to skip forward or skip back a track. Now, one of the things that Yamaha has done exceptionally well is the layout of these buttons, because once you put these on, your thumbs naturally actually rest on the buttons, and they are very well placed. So as I'm putting these on, my thumb is already resting on that play pause button, and then I can slide it forward to turn them on, or I can slide it back to adjust the volume or skip forward or skip back. I really like it. But now that I have it on, let's go ahead and let's talk about comfort. Like I said, the headband has that little foam up top, so it feels nice and soft on the head, and I can adjust the headphones down just a little bit to get the fit that I need. Now, my ears aren't bent over or anything like that, but I can just adjust them just a little bit if I can feel the inside of the cup touching my ears. Like I said, these cups themselves are nice and plush. They're not squishy, so they fit with a nice fit around my head. They feel nice and comfortable. Now, one thing I will say that since these are over the ear headphones, in the summer they can get a little warm, but they'll feel nice in the winter. But I have something here, right here, that you can use in the summer, and I'll talk about that in an upcoming review. But anyways, as far as the overall clamping force, they feel pretty good on the head. I haven't had any issues with headaches or anything like that. But I did notice that after 3 or 4 hours, I did kind of want to take them off and just give my head a little bit of break. But otherwise, from a comfort standpoint, I like them. In the design category, I give these an 8.5 out of 10. Yamaha has done a good job. I mean, they've given us a carrying case that works and a couple of color options. Now, I wish they give us a few other options, like let's say a red, a blue, a pink, purple, gold, different colors just to kind of match different personalities, but black and white definitely work. I also love the buttons. I mean, not just because they're physical buttons, but because they are laid out so well. All you have to do is put your hand up and you can quickly orient yourself and figure out exactly which button you want to push so that you can do the function that you want to do. And from a comfort standpoint, I think they've done a good job. But like I said, after 3 or 4 hours, I kind of wanted to take them off just to kind of give my head a break. But I think they've done a good job, and I give them an 8.5 out of 10 for design. Moving on to features and technology, Yamaha has packed in a lot of features and technologies inside these headphones. The first thing I want to talk about is the app, though, because I haven't talked about it. You can pair the Yamaha Headphone app with these headphones, and it'll tell you things like battery percentage. You can do firmware updates. You can toggle on the different technologies I'm going to talk about in a minute. So there's a good bit here. But speaking about battery life for a minute, Yamaha claims these have approximately 35 hours of continuous playback with the noise canceling on. And I did a single battery drain test with noise canceling on, listening care on, the listening optimizer on, and the volume at 50%. And I got 28 hours and 20 minutes out of these headphones. And I think that is actually pretty respectable considering I've got all the features on. So if the volume was a little bit lower, maybe, not running listening care or listening optimizer, maybe I would have gotten a little closer to 35 hours. But I did do that, and I feel like their claims are pretty good there. Now let's move on and talk about some of the other features. And we're going to start with listening care. And the way that works is when you turn listening care on inside the app, you can't do it in the headphones, you have to do it inside the app. It boosts certain frequencies at low volumes so that you can hear them, so that you can keep the headphone volume a little bit lower and therefore protect your ears. So I like it. I toggled it on and off while I was listening to music at low volume, and it definitely works. The next feature I want to talk about is the listening optimizer. And the way that works is Yamaha has some microphones inside the ear cups, and they're measuring the sound, reflecting off your ears to understand exactly how your ears are shaped and what's going on with them. And then it optimizes the sound for your head. Now, personally, I toggled this on and off while I was listening to music, and I didn't notice a difference one way or the other. Does it work? Probably, but I didn't notice a difference. So that's just kind of something to mention. Also, it is on a 20-second loop, and maybe I was missing the loop or whatever. But again, I tried it a lot and I didn't really notice a difference. But again, they have that feature. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the noise cancellation, because that's probably the biggest reason why people buy these. Yes, they do buy them for Bluetooth, and Bluetooth works, but they mainly buy them probably for noise cancellation, and it does work. It uses the 2 microphones on each one of the ear cups to measure the outside noise and try to cancel that out so you get clean, clear, crystal sound. Now, it works best with things like, that are continuous sounds, like a plane engine or your HVAC system running and things like that. It will work a little bit with, your kids playing and stuff like that. It'll bring their volume down some, but it's not going to completely block those sounds. Now, as far as, is this best in class noise cancellation? I wouldn't say it's best in class, but I would say it's a good 8 out of 10 if 10 is best in class. The final feature I want to mention here is the auto power off function. Now, the headphones will auto power off at an interval that you decide inside the app, and they will shut off once it loses its Bluetooth connection, not once it loses its sound connection, because I ran into that. But if you pause them and walk away with your phone or something like that, then they'll shut off. But if you pause it, leave your phone there, it'll remain on because it still has that Bluetooth connection. So that's just something that I learned while I was using these, and I thought I'd want to point that out. So I give these a 7 out of 10 for features and technology. I like the fact that they have a noise cancellation built in with ambient sound mode. They also have the listening optimizer, listening care for audio safety, and the app so you can toggle in different functions and do the auto power off timer. So those are great. I like that. But there are a couple of features I wish these headphones had. The first one being a wear detection. And what I mean by that is when you take the headphones off, I wish they would automatically pause without you even having to push the button. That'd be a nice feature to add. But the main feature I wish these had was inside the app, the ability to have different sound profiles and even an EQ so that you can have different sound profiles for the different things that you listen to. For instance, if you're listening to a podcast and you want to go for more a vocal presence, go for that sound profile for vocal. Or if you're listening to your favorite music and it's mellow, jazz or something like that, you go for the mellow. Or energetic, go for the energetic. More bass heavy, more treble heavy, just a little bit more sound adjustment inside the app would be great. So I give these a 7 out of 10 for features and technology. Now let's talk sound quality. And I tested these using both movies and music. I tested them wireless with noise canceling on and with the wire. Now, as far as the wire is concerned, that's the only way you can get high res out of these headphones because they don't have the aptX HD codec, just aptX. So if you want high res, definitely use the wire. But going back to the wireless, because that's the main way I've tested this with the Bluetooth 5, I like the way it sounds. It's got a nice full-bodied, rich sound that's very balanced between the highs, mids, and lows, with the lows being just a touch, just a hair more prominent than the mids and the highs. Now, as far as the sound stage is concerned, they do a great job. Vocals are nice and centered where they're supposed to be. And when you're watching a movie, if you have an actor coming in, let's say from behind you, you can actually hear them walk into the room from behind you. There's also decent height to the image. It doesn't go full on Atmos overhead, but there's definitely height to the image and things are placed within the sound stage where one would expect. There's also decent clarity in the highs, mids, and lows. I like the detail in the lows, and vocals sound nice and natural. Now, when turning on noise cancellation, I did notice that the bass reduced just by 2, maybe 3 dB, but it was noticeable. And with some other noise canceling systems, I've noticed that it's a much more seamless transition. You don't really notice the difference, but here I did notice it just a touch. When plugged in wired, it has the same full-bodied rich sound, with the bass being just a bit more prominent than the highs and mids, but otherwise I thought it did a great job wired and wireless, but honestly I think I prefer the wireless sound a little bit more, mainly because it's a bit more balanced. Now, one other thing I noticed in sound quality was when noise canceling was on, I did hear a little bit of an electronic sound a couple of times, and it wasn't persistent or anything like that, but I did want to mention that I did hear it when I was listening to these headphones. So in the sound quality category, I give these an 8 out of 10. They've got a nice full-bodied, rich sound with nice detail. Obviously they're immersive because they are a near field experience. They don't do completely overhead, but they do some decent height within the image. The only issue I have with them really personally is the fact that, again, I did hear a little bit of electronic noise with the noise canceling on a couple of times, and you do not get an opportunity to change the sound profiles inside the app. You have to like what you get out of these headphones, but honestly what you get is really, really good. So I give them an 8 out of 10. The final topic I want to talk about is value, and I give these a 5 out of 10. They are $350 for the pair, so they're in line with the Sony and even the Bose. The Bose may be just a touch more expensive, maybe $379, but otherwise they're pretty much in line, so I give them a 5 out of 10. Overall, I like these headphones. They have a nice design that comes in 2 different colors, along with a button layout that really works. From a comfort standpoint, I think they've done a good job, and they also give you a bunch of features, including noise cancellation with an ambient sound mode, approximately 35 hours of battery life, and they give you a good sound quality, nice and balanced. That's just a touch warm. So I do recommend these, with the caveat of you have to kind of like the sound that comes out of these, because you can't adjust it at all inside the app. So that's one place where I'd say, if you don't like that type of sound, maybe you should look somewhere else. But otherwise, I do like these and I do recommend them. So if you want to purchase the E700s or anything else from Worldwide Stereo, use those links in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. We'll talk to you next time.